With The Dark Knight Rises finally making its release this weekend, I'm going to take a little look back on these two previous films. And we all know that they're awesome, but here are my thoughts. Alright, so I'm going to be reviewing the Nolan Batman movies, and first off with Batman Begins. Batman Begins was a reboot of the original Batman franchise that was directed by Burton and then soon given to Joel Schumacher, and of course Joel Schumacher murdered the entire franchise with the atrocity of Batman and Robin. And because of Batman and Robin, the movie Batman Triumphant was cancelled by Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers decided to hold off the series for a while, give it a halt, and then they decided to reboot the entire franchise with Christopher Nolan as director, and by then he only directed following Insomnia and of course Memento, and then we had casted like Christian Bale, Michael Caine for each of these roles, so people were like saying, this could be interesting. And then the movie comes out and release, and the movie just blows a lot of people away, including me. I did not see it in the big screen, I saw it on DVD, but it was still a great movie. Batman Begins is a great movie because of the well-done story it has here, how we follow Bruce Wayne when he's a child, once he falls into the bat hole, and once he witnesses his own parents' death, which he is feeling guilty about for the rest of his life, and then he, of course, runs away from Gotham. He trains with Liam Neeson's character Ra's al Ghul. He goes back to Gotham, puts the cape on and the mask and everything else, becomes Batman, and of course Scarecrow comes along, that's the villain, and Scarecrow uses the fear gas as the mask and everything else, and we all know how the story goes. Batman Begins is great because of the story, because of the immaculate direction by Christopher Nolan, and the great performances by the cast. Christian Bale's acting of Bruce Wayne / Batman is amazing here. He's a great Bruce Wayne, and he's also a terrific Batman, even though his voice is really weird, and he sounds like he has throat cancer. Sorry for this horrible impression. But I had to do that impression because I love using the voice, it's so much fun. But yeah, he's a great Batman. Enough said about there. The rest of the cast did a very good job. Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Morgan Freeman, Cillian Murphy, and even Katie Holmes to an extent. Of course, she is not the best here. She's definitely the worst of the entire cast, but she's alright. The rest of the cast do a very good job for what they're given, and they're a fantastic supporting cast here. And the movie looks beautiful in a way. They make the city of Gotham seem so dark and brooding and kind of scary. You kind of don't want to visit there because of how horrible the city is and how dangerous it is and everything else. And of course, what I love about this movie is how Nolan decided to hold off the biggest villain of them all, the Joker, for the next film. And the way they, segued into that by the end of the movie gets everybody incredibly excited for how Nolan is going to interpret it. And of course, I'm going to talk about that like in a few seconds right now. But yeah, Batman Begins, fantastic movie, great direction, great acting, great story, great new version of how to tell Batman in general, great realistic sense, makes you immersed into the entire world. So yeah, very strong 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. Now going on to the big one, The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight, let me say this first. I remember the day I went to see the movie. I remember the exact time. July 18th, 2008, 4 o'clock p.m. I was lining up in theater number 10 in my home theater, Edwards 22 Plus IMAX in Fresno, California. And once I went inside the theater, a lot of people were excited in there. My mom and dad were with me, and of course, and I was really excited because, I like Batman. He's not my favorite superhero, but I really like him. I thought the Joker sounded cool. And of course, with the tragic death of Heath Ledger, you couldn't help but be really curious about how the Joker was going to be pulled off. And let me tell you this. For the 152 minutes this film was shown on the big screen for me, my entire viewpoint in movies in general changed forever. The Dark Knight is definitely, of course, one of my favorite movies of all time, probably in my top 5 even. But what makes it so great, and what makes it so meaningful to me, is the fact that that's when I realized that there's much more to the movie than just big explosions, amazing special effects, or spectacle. There are great stories that I should be watching in movies, because before then, I was more interested in movies like Transformers or stuff like that, where things blew up, and I didn't really care for the story as much. But because of this, I took a look more into the script writing process and the story, and the direction, of course, and the amazing acting. And let me go into the acting for a moment here. Heath Ledger, of course, gives one of the best performances of all time as the Joker. He literally embodied it. He became the Joker. He was so committed to this role, and there's a little fun fact that I just learned recently that he actually wanted Christian Bale to beat him up hard during the interrogation scene, which is one of the best scenes in all of cinema. And it makes it a little bit more hard for me to watch it because it seemed realistic that, Batman was actually hitting the Joker that hard, but it turns out that he actually was, and dang, Heath Ledger was such a committed actor, and if he was still alive today, he would have become one of the most influential, most successful, and most, great actors of all time. He definitely is now with the small body of work he had. Unfortunately, he ended up going like James Dean. And Heath, I really hope you're in a better place. I'm praying to God that you're in a better place, and we miss you, man, and thank you very much for that amazing performance that you had here. The rest of the cast, of course, do a great job. Christian Bale is still a great Bruce Wayne and Batman. Michael Caine as Alfred is still great. Gary Oldman, who's Commissioner Gordon, is actually my favorite character in the entire series because I relate to him the most. The rest of the cast, even Maggie Gyllenhaal, does a good job. Morgan Freeman, of course, he's great. You can't go wrong with him and his voice. Aaron Eckhart, if it wasn't for Heath Ledger's unfortunate passing, I think Aaron Eckhart could have gotten just as much credit as he gotten as Harvey Dent / Two-Face, because Aaron Eckhart's portrayal of Two-Face is fantastic. It's well done, and his character is well developed too. From the beginning, where you're thinking that, oh, ever since he's elected as DA, Harvey Dent, you think that he's going to definitely help fix Gotham up after the horrible things that are happening. And even Bruce Wayne himself thinks that he could help Gotham and repair the entire city. But, of course, the Joker comes on, brings chaos to Gotham, and even shows the worst out of Harvey after a tragic event that happens in the movie. And it just proves how much of a tragic character that Harvey Dent is, because of how you actually liked him. He's very charismatic, a nice guy, he looks like a good leader too, wanting to get good decisions for Gotham. And then you see him as Two-Face, and how he uses it to flip the coin to test the mercy of your lives. And he also gives a very mesmerizing performance here, and I think his performance is very overlooked. The rest of the movie is a masterpiece in general. Christopher Nolan's immaculate direction, of course. Cinematography is amazing, especially with the use of the IMAX cameras. The movie is just flawless in my opinion because of how well they've made this film. It was so incredibly hyped. Before this movie was coming out, people were saying, oh, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight. We need to watch this now, we need to watch this now. It was so incredibly anticipated. And the fact that it was so perfect and it blew away every expectation that we had that was incredibly high, I cannot praise this movie enough. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It influenced me as a film lover and a film goer in general. And yeah, thank you Christopher Nolan, thank you Christian Bale, Michael Caine, Heath Ledger, Gary Oldman, Aaron Eckhart, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Morgan Freeman, the rest of the cast, Wyatt Pfister, the cinematographer, everyone else there. Thank you very much for this amazing movie. And I love it. It's gonna stay in my heart for a long time. It will always be my favorite superhero movie of all time. Maybe that will change tomorrow night once I see the movie finally. Yes. And yeah, those are my opinions on the Nolan Batman movies. I love them to death. Love, love, love them. And yeah, I bet you guys love them too. So if you like this video, you could subscribe up there to see more reviews of mine. You could like this video, comment down below, share this on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, any social media device that you use. You could also like my Facebook down below in the description. Also follow me on Twitter at GreenArcReviews, and I guess that's it. Until next time guys, I am Noah of GreenArcReviews, and I will see you later.